So we know that the Nintendo Switch 2 exists, but when will it release? So it's been a few days since the Switch 2 was initially revealed, and my thoughts so far have been exclusively for Mario Kart. Like, that's all I can really think about, and potential games. Games. I've sort of spent the last couple months just thinking about what the Switch 2 would be, and what its OS system would look like, what its logo would look like. 2 videos about the logo and the UI will appear on the main channel shortly, hopefully. But I haven't really been thinking that much outside of those 2 things. Sort of once it got announced, it was like, okay, that's a sigh of relief. That even though we don't know what the UI looks like yet, and we do know what the logo looks like, although I'm, again, have a few things to say about it. You know, that's about it when it comes to thinking about the Switch. It's just been me thinking about Mario Kart and the possible games coming out with Switch 2. However, I do want to say one thing. When we'll be getting the Switch 2. And initially, a lot of people thought that we could get this system as early as March, or as early as April. But obviously now, with the Nintendo Direct appearing on April 2nd, that is very, very unlikely, in my opinion. I don't think, it's like, imagine we get it released before the Direct. Like, it's impossible. We're not going to get it in March. Maybe April, but I doubt they'll do the Direct, have all these events for like the Nintendo Switch experience, or Nintendo Switch 2 experience, pardon me, to show people what the system's like in person, and release it during that. Like, that really doesn't make much sense. And so the absolute earliest I could see this happening is May. Like, if I was just going to guess and not do any research or reference anything previously, I would say May is when we're going to get this console. Gives a month to, have the Direct, have people talk about it, have a couple of the events, get people excited, do some analysis and all this stuff. But I'm starting to think no. I'm starting to think it's going to be later. And I'll explain first. So, looking at the Switch 1, right? That was announced in October of 2016. I'm pretty sure. It might be like late September, but I'm pretty sure it was early October. Late September, early October. Let's just lock that in. And then it released at the very beginning of March. And so that is precisely, or approximately, around, not precisely, but approximately around 6 months. 6 months, give or take. And that seems to be the Goldilocks zone, where you have time for speculation, you have time for people thinking about it, talking about it, getting excited for it, and then once everyone is familiar with the idea of it, once people have been talking about it, then release new information, get people talking about that, and then after they're used to that, release some more information, and then take it to release. So with that, I'm sort of thinking we're gonna, we have the announcement in January, and then we're gonna have this Direct in April, which won't be as far as you guys think. Well, that's two and a bit months. That sounds long, but it really, I think that's gonna fly by, and we'll have so much to discuss between then. I'm sure we'll get like a few more sneak peeks and stuff from Nintendo between now and then. They're also gonna release Xenoblade. Like, I think it was just a case of, getting the speculation to halt, and then sort of getting people theorizing and excited more than anything with this announcement in January. So when it gets to April 2nd and we have this huge blowout and get to see what all the console looks like and get to see a bunch of different games, that is going to be incredibly exciting. And for them to do that, and then have these events, and then for it to release very shortly after, I think would be a mistake. Because I think one thing which is so important to video games is that hype before it releases, getting people really excited to the build up for when it released. And I haven't really felt that in a long time for really any game. They sort of just crop up. Maybe that's a case of having too much games. Maybe it's a case of just going on with life. But in my eyes, I just think it's because the last couple of years have been, very solid, very great games. But, since Tears of a Kingdom, there hasn't been really anything that's really gotten me like, I have to play this. I'm looking at everything beforehand. I'm trying to learn as much about this before I play, because I'm so excited. And that, again, that hype beforehand, where people are doing analysis, where the discussion is going on online, is so important. I could easily, personally for me, with how many video ideas I have for this channel and my main channel, I'm like I really am happy that we don't get the Direct sooner than April, because A, I'm a bit slow, right? Animation takes time. And B, it's like, I want to get excited. I want to have that feeling of anticipation and then get the reward of actually finding out about this stuff. And I think without having proper anticipation, the releasing the console early in like May just really doesn't make that sense. I would say the earliest they should do would be mid to late June, if not July. I think, again, that's similar to like the 6-month period which October to March had for the original Switch. And I think 6 months of hype between now and then, or less than six months, would be really, really cool. It might even be a tiny bit shorter. Maybe it'll be closer to 5 months. But I don't know. Like I really think that we're gonna get it around then. Now there is also a case where we get it even later, maybe September, October, or November, to have a holiday release for the console. But I really don't see that being the case. I think summer, where people are traveling a lot, where people are moving around a lot, where people are outside, it makes a lot of sense to release it around then, because honestly, March was great for it to release. March is the best month, obviously, because I was born in March. But it's not the greatest month to go on walkabouts, is it? The summer is perfect when you're traveling, you're going around, you might go on a plane, you might go on a bus, you might be go on a little road trip. Great timing to have a portable handheld console versus everyone using it on the TV for ages and ages and ages and not really using it about. I'm actually curious. I wonder if when the Switch 2 comes out, people are going to be too nervous to take it on the go, because it's like, oh, this is so much more premium. Oh, this is a lot nicer. Maybe for a few days. I'm always like that with tech, where I'm like, oh, I got to keep it very, very clean, very pristine. And then there'll be a time where, like this happened recently, I was just walking with a backpack with my laptop in it, and then I slipped on ice and slammed against the floor. Luckily, I'm fine. Luckily, my laptop's fine. Christ, MacBooks are not cheap, I'll say that. So I'm very happy that was okay, but I'm okay. Like when you first get tech, you'll save it over yourself, like you really try hard. That was a very sad day where I slipped on the ice. It was not fun. What else am I talking about? Oh yeah, the games. I want to talk about this. So it's like, another thing to consider is, when is Pokemon Legends ZA coming out? When is Metroid Prime 4 coming out? Those games have been showcased as Switch 1 titles and Switch 1 releases. And I think they still could be cross-compatible. It makes sense. I think there'll be 2 examples of enhanced port, or like the differences and contrasts of like, oh, if you play this on Switch 1, this is what it looks like. But if you play it in Switch 2, this is what happens, and have like a really fun contrast with that. My guess is Metroid Prime 4 will be a November or October release. I think Metroid in the winter months just works so well. It's very, very, I don't know, it feels very desolate, very isolating, very cold. It's just a very good sort of autumn, winter sort of vibe, before Christmas or anything. Or, even October, I guess. Pokemon Legends, I could see this game happening maybe in the summer. This feels like a sort of an August game, maybe a September game. And so with those being, these cross titles, does that mean that it's like they're going to wait for these titles to release on Switch 1 before Switch 2? No, I don't think so. My prediction is probably that Metroid Prime 4 will definitely be in like November, and then the new Mario Kart, which I saw some people saying that it might be cross-gen as well. I don't think so, but that's an interesting theory. The new Mario, or even free-to-play. I'm definitely going to do a video about if the new Mario Kart could be free-to-play. Tell me if you guys want to see that. But Mario Kart and Pokemon Legends ZA, I think, will both be launch titles for sure. Well, Mario Kart's definitely going to be a launch title, but Pokemon Legends ZA, I think, has the potential of also being a launch title, which would be pretty bloody cool. I think launching with a Pokemon game and a Mario Kart game is sick. Like that, you can't really beat that as a day 1 launch, unless it's a new Zelda game, of course. And something else to consider is that Switch 1 is still going to get games which we haven't heard of yet. How many games are going to release for Switch 1 after Switch 2 have already been released? How many Switch 1 games are we going to get in 2026, 2027? I think what's going to happen, actually, is instead of getting Switch 1 releases and then Switch 2 releases separately, like we did with F3DS and Switch, they are all going to be promoted as like, oh, you can play this on both, but if you play it on Switch 2, it's going to have like a nice little patch where it's a lot smoother or cleaner or you know what I mean? It's gonna have something like that. But those are my thoughts, guys, for the release schedule for the Nintendo Switch 2. What do you guys think? Do you guys think I'm crazy? What month do you think it's gonna release? Comment the month down below, and let's get this discussion going. With all that being said, I hope you have a fantastic